Hello, I'm Todd Starnes. In my Faith Under Fire segment, a Florida sheriff is facing outrage after he delivered a Sunday morning sermon while wearing his uniform. The Freedom from Religion Foundation says Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd broke the law when he delivered that sermon at the First Baptist Church in Lakeland. They fired off a 3-page letter accusing the sheriff of promoting the church and its religious views, writing that in your official capacity as an officer of the government, you are bound by the Establishment Clause and cannot abuse that office to promote your personal religious choices. Sheriff Grady Judd joins me now from Florida. Sheriff, the Freedom from Religion people, they tell us you can't preach in your official capacity and you can't be wearing your work clothes. How do you respond to that?
Well, I find that very interesting that a group of people can call my office, which they understand is the office of the sheriff, say, Sheriff, we want you to come speak with us. And then when I show up to speak, and in this case it's the church in a sermon, they go, well, you can't do that. You're wearing your uniform. And do you know what? If I was wearing a coat and tie, they would have said, you can't do that in your official capacity. I think they're looking for free publicity. It is really the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life, that I can't stand up, exercise my First Amendment right. I can't speak to my constituency that invites me to come talk with them and wear my official work clothes. That is just about the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of.
Sheriff, there does seem to be this mentality these days among the anti-religion crowd that Christians like yourself are not allowed to engage or talk about their faith in the public marketplace.
No, and I just don't understand that. I don't understand why they're so defensive. I don't know why they are so outraged. I'm blessed. I have the opportunity to be at the menorah lightings with my Jewish friends and speak in the Christian church and speak in the secular areas, of this county. I am everybody's sheriff. And quite frankly, I don't intend to change my ways. I want to be involved with everyone. In fact, I had a radio host ask me, well, what if somebody from the mosque asked you to come speak? And I said, well, I would show up and speak because I am everyone's sheriff. So when I stand up as in my church or any church and say I'm a Christian, I'm proud of that. I am very proud to be a God-fearing and man of faith.
Now, Sheriff, they also seem to take issue with the title of your sermon, which I personally thought was brilliant. Wouldn't the world be better if everyone behaved like a Christian? They argue the world would be better off without Christianity.
I go back to the old leaders of this country. George Washington, for example, said to think we can have morality without religion, not so much. The reality of this entire event is that they don't want anyone to say anything at all. And they think that this is low-hanging fruit. Well, I can tell you clearly and unequivocally that morality is important in this country. When you look to see the trouble that occurs in the streets and the communities, why is that trouble there? Because the government hasn't connected with the people? Because the people have not accepted their government officials? It's the government's responsibility to interact with and be part of the community. And to think that we should ignore our faith-based groups in our communities is absurd.
Now, the Freedom from Religion, they say that appearing in that Christian church, it gives the impression that you're discriminating, that you have a problem with other religions or the non-religious. But let's be clear here, Sheriff. If a Christian breaks a law or an atheist breaks a law, you're not going to discriminate. They're going to the jail. Am I correct?
We treat everybody equally. Our job is to enforce the law. It's also our job to protect people. We'll stand in front of a bullet for an atheist or for someone of another religion just as quick as we will for the Christian religion. It really has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a man of faith. I'm the sheriff of the county, and I was asked to come in and speak. I didn't push my way into a crowd of people that didn't ask me to be there, and I'm just absolutely astonished by the allegation. It's like, what are you talking about? I submit to you that had I shown up and gave that same exact sermon wearing a suit, they still would have been critical because they said, oh, you're the sheriff. But let me tell you one thing. They're not going to silence me from my First Amendment rights. They're not going to censor me. I'm going to do what's right for all of the people in Polk County. And when you call here for me to speak to your group, regardless of what your group is, I am going to show up in my uniform and speak.
All right, Sheriff, thank you very much. Should the sheriff be allowed to preach in his work clothes? That's our Facebook question of the day, ToddStarnes.com. That's where you can find me. And you can also sign up for the most important newsletter in print. That's my newsletter. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes.